Hello and welcome to day 4 roundup here at Circuito Internazionale Napoli in Sarno, southern Italy, for the 20th running of the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. An update on how the Red Devils got on yesterday. Really good to see, first of all, Ilian Brunsils, our Euro Trophy Open champion, 308, back in the paddock, chilling, resting up. He's still a little bit sore from the accident that took him out of the running a couple of days ago, as you can sort of see the hustle and bustle as everyone's getting in for warm-up, ready for the penultimate day of the Greece meeting. So we first turn our attentions to Len Nyes on the 11th. Qualifying heat number 2, which is the final one for the 36 strong. Len was able to keep his nose a bit clean, started P13, ended up P9, after Jay Irwin from the United States received a 5-second front fairing penalty, which puts him, as a result of his 2 results, P6 in the pre-final, which takes place at around about 11 minutes past 11 this morning, subject to any delays or anything like that. Jasper Lehnert's a bit of a difficult day, but he's still trying to remain as positive as possible, is Jasper. Qualifying heat number 2 for him. Started P26, finished on the road P30, but unfortunately he was the first of multiple drivers within the team that suffered a 5-second front fairing penalty, dropping him down to 34th. So it puts him P27 after the qualifying heat, so they take it in terms of the points, for those wanting a bit more of an explanation, that the higher up the field you finish, the less points you score. So his pre-final gets underway at 31 minutes past 11 local time, with me joining Henry Baudet in the commentary box. Tom Heinert's up and down day from the International Trophy champion. Warm-up, he, just like Len Nyes earlier on in the day, he decided to go out there for 2 laps, not set a fast time, but just check that everything's working correctly as it should be. So qualifying heat 2, groups A and C. Started P7, but was running a bit higher than that. Ended up P9 because he was the second driver, one of 20 in that heat. Yes, you heard that right, 20 that suffered with 5-second front fairing penalties. Then it went a bit further south, unfortunately for Tom, in his 3rd and final qualifying heat. Groups A and D started again P7, but ended up P39 due to a 10-second penalty as a result of the stewards deciding for some overzealous and over-aggressive driving. But it puts him P22 after the qualifying heats. That puts him in the pre-final B, as you can hear the engines being revved up like I don't know what behind me. So hopefully my voice is coming through. I'm going to have to, my voice is a bit ropey after a few days here. But he starts in pre-final B, which takes place at 14:26 local time here on the live stream. Milan Koppens, a good day, very good solid results from the youngster on the 218 from Buvin Power. He was in the same qualifying heat number 2 as Tom, groups B and D. Ended up finishing in P13, having started in 12th, but then really came alive again. Sorry, my apologies there. Milan P15, finished P11 in the first one, so groups B and D. Then he was in the other heats, which was groups B and C. Started P15 and ended up P8. Now there were several drivers, 3 of them in fact, from South Africa, Troy Delincek, then it was Danny van Ruyten from the Netherlands, and Bo Prenesti from Australia, that all got hit with 5-second front fairing penalties. So that puts him P17 out of 72 after the qualifying heat scores have been tallied together, and that puts him in the pre-final A, which takes place at 11:56 local time. Roy Curves, a bit of a consistent day from the 315. So he ended up having a consistent run. He was actually the next one of the drivers that got a 5-second penalty. That was in his 3rd qualifying heat. He was in groups B and D for qualifying heat 2. Started P12, finished P13. Qualifying heat 3, which put him in groups A and D. Started P12, finished P15. He could have actually been in the top 10 had it not been for a, once again, 5-second front fairing penalty. It is getting a bit tougher out there for the drivers. So P30 out of 72 after the points tally. That puts him in pre-final B, which takes place at 14:51 local time. The two-time defending and reigning B&L Karting Series champion in DD2, Zander Triblak, on the 423. Good results from this young man. Absolutely fantastic for him. So, in both qualifying heat 2 and 3, where he started P6, so group 2, qualifying heat 2 was groups B and D, and group 3 was A and D. Started P6 in both, finished P4 in the second heat, and actually hold station for P6 in the third one. So that puts him 10th out of 72 after the qualifying heat points have been put together. That puts him in pre-final B, which takes place at 15:41 local time. Sebastian de Grand had a really good showing in the first heat. He was in the second qualifying heat as Zander. So the 429 started in P23, ended up P17, but he actually finished a lot higher than that, ran about P11, P12, I think. But again, another driver affected by a 5-second front fairing penalty in what was qualifying heat 3. Qualifying heat 2, well, actually, he got the double whammy, double bubble, so to speak. So P17 in qualifying heat 2, and qualifying heat 3, he got another 5-second front fairing penalty and finished, I think, around about 22nd, 23rd on that particular one. He will also be in pre-final B, having ended up P50 out of 72 after the qualifying heats points have been tallied up. Then we get on to our two DD2 Masters drivers. First off, 14-time attendee, Monsieur Christophe Adams, our team captain, and also court jester, if you will, if Dave Britson is the king and we are his mere minions and subjects. Christophe Adams would definitely be the court jester. So Christophe, who won the Stars and Stripes Open earlier on this year and guaranteed his place, is one in Chile, amongst other countries, just 2 of the 60 here. Christophe had a really good showing, but also another driver affected by a 5-second front fairing penalty in his first of 2 qualifying heats yesterday. So started P10, ended up P21, so it was a bit difficult for the veteran in that particular heat. But then he really had a good showing in qualifying heat 3, and that was groups A and D. Started on the outside of row 5, P10, and ended up P7. And this was because that Latvia's Henris Gruber got a 5-second front fairing penalty post-race. So he ends up P22 out of 72 after the points have been tallied up. That puts him in pre-final B, which takes place at 15:16 local time here in Sarno. Then we've also got De Bakker. Yes, he's got a new nickname now. I wanted to make it as short and sharp, as punchy as possible. So De Bakker, Carl Clevort, or if you want to use the longer version, because De Bakker is more like an acronym, isn't it? The fastest baker from Flanders. He's also had, I've spoken with Carl a couple of times throughout the course of yesterday. Still struggling a bit with straight line speed. The power is dropping a couple of kilometers an hour on the straight, but his pace has improved. So qualifying heat 2, groups B and D, Carl started P13 and then ended up P10 after Derek Wang received a 3-second penalty for start line infringement. So if they go outside of the tram lines before the lights go out, they get a 3-second automatic penalty from race control. And then qualifying heat number 3, groups B and C, started P13 and then finished P12 because Chris Walton from Australia got a 5-second front fairing penalty. Puts him P19, so 3 places ahead of Christophe, which means that he goes into pre-final A. That takes place at 12:46 local time. Oh, and also, one thing I have actually forgotten, the Nations Cup. We are currently, as the Red Devils, P11 on 1,430 points, 417 behind the current leaders, France, who at the moment are on 1,847. So, as you can see behind me, everyone's warming up. This is pre-finals day. This is where it really counts, and we find out who will be going through to the grand finals. Of course, we know that Jasper and Len will automatically go through. The pre-finals, as a result of the total points accumulated throughout the week, will then decide, do they make it into the top 36 or don't they? and there will be some drivers that unfortunately won't be taking any further parts. We hope that every single one of the 9 drivers from Team Belgium ends up in every single grand final tomorrow. Don't forget, click down in the link below to tune in to the official live stream of the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals, the 20th running, with Henry Baudet and maybe even a few special guests as well along the way, as it's going to be an interesting day here in Sarno. Can't wait to see what happens. And as they say, rubbing's racing, but karting is a non-contact sport. See you later on.